Part 1 Blood Game. Rain slicks Detroit like an open wound. Neon bleeds down cracked asphalt, drips off the broken ribs of the Packard plant. The city's arteries hum with exhaust and hunger. It's 11:55 p.m., and Ethan Grim Reilly is 5 minutes from making history, his own pathetic, blood-stained history. The scoreboard sits taped to his dash, a crumpled napkin soaked in cigarette ash. Numbers in red Sharpie, half smeared by sweat. 97 points. 3 more to go. Come on, baby, he mutters to the wheel. Let's make it a clean 100. The Black Widow, his rust-bitten 1970 Dodge Charger, growls like it's alive. One headlight flickers, the other's long dead. The exhaust coughs thunder. Inside, it smells of burnt oil, damp fries, and adrenaline. Ethan's knuckles are white on the steering wheel. A half-eaten container of low-mine rides shotgun. Detroit's night is acid, literally. Rain hits the hood and hisses. The old plant's smokestacks stretch like crucifixes against a jaundiced sky. Every puddle mirrors the dead bones of the city. Ethan's been driving deliveries for Dragon's Breath since his DUI killed the mechanic job. But tonight's not about tips or takeout. Tonight's about the game. Started as a joke between drivers. 1 point, frogs, rats. 3 points, stray cats. 5 points, dogs. 10, foxes. Anything exotic or unidentifiable. Bonus. Some nights it's just dark humor to survive the grind. But for Ethan, it turned into a religion. Each hit gives him a rush, the jolt of impact, the score tally, the fleeting guardhood of destruction. The city doesn't bleed anymore, it rusts. But he makes it bleed again. Static crackles through the old CB radio. Carlos Cat Mendoza's voice cuts in, lazy and teasing. Carlos, yo Grim, where you at, man? Heard you're close to the big one. Ethan, 97. 2 frogs and a damn raccoon away. Carlos, you sick, bro? That's not a scoreboard, that's a cry for help. Ethan, cry me a river, cat. What's your high score again? Carlos, not enough to get me fired. Or cursed. Ethan, you believe that Skinner crap too. Carlos, I believe in bad luck. You're driving through Packard, right? Watch your ass. Whole place is haunted. Ethan, haunted by who? Rats with health insurance. Carlos, you ever hear screaming under that plant? My cousin swears the drains talk. Ethan, then tell your cousin to lay off the fentanyl. Ethan grins and cuts the line. He likes Carlos, but tonight he's a distraction. The scoreboard is all that matters. He hits I-94, blacktop glistening under the yellow fever of the streetlights. Every few blocks, a dead animal gleams in his headlights, too mangled for points, already claimed by traffic or rot. He feels cheated. Then, the phone buzzes. A notification from Dragon's Breath app. New order, $200 tip promised. Deliver to Packard Plant Complex, Building 13, Floor 13. Time limit, 30 minutes. He laughs, dry and ugly. Of course. 1313. Fucking poetic. He checks the tip twice. 200. Could pay a week's rent, or at least his car's next resurrection. Fine, he mutters. One last run. He floors it. Packard Avenue appears like a scar through the rain. The skeletal remains of the old auto plant stretch forever, thousands of windows punched out, rust bleeding down like tears. Every gust moans through the halls like ghosts exhaling through pipes. The entrance is choked with wild vines, graffiti, and broken forklifts fossilized in concrete. The air tastes metallic. He parks near a storm drain that gurgles like it's breathing. The Black Widow idles low, headlights slicing through sheets of acid rain. Steam curls from the hood. Ethan lights a cigarette, watches the ember tremble at the tip. The digital clock flicks to 12:03 a.m. 13 minutes late already. Who the hell orders Chinese food to an abandoned factory? He pops the glove box, a flick knife, a flashlight, and a printed menu from Dragon's Breath. Underneath, a Polaroid of him and Sarah, back when he still smiled without clenching his jaw. She's wearing his leather jacket, laughing at something stupid. That was before he turned the road into a scoreboard. He stuffs the photo back. Not tonight. Rain drums harder. The wind carries a smell, sour, biological. Like wet rust and blood. A shadow darts across the lane ahead. Small, fast. He squints. A raccoon. No. Taller. Too smooth in motion. He grips the wheel. The game instinct kicks in. 5 points, maybe 10. The creature hesitates at the edge of his lights, then bolts across the asphalt. Come on, baby. He slams the gas. The Charger surges forward. Impact. Bang. The front bumper jerks upward. The entire car jumps, a good foot off the ground. A dull crack follows, not like bones, not quite metal. Something in between. The steering wheel bucks, the cigarette flies from his lips. The car skids to a halt, hissing like a cornered animal. Silence. Rain ticking. Engine idling. Then, a sound. A wet groan, low and muffled, human, or close enough to make his skin crawl. Ethan breathes through his nose, slow, steady. Adrenaline burns behind his eyes. 15 points, he whispers, half laughing, half trembling. Maybe 20. He grabs the flashlight, shoves open the door. The night swallows him whole. Under the sodium light, he sees a trail of dark fluid, not quite red, too black. It steams against the wet concrete. The rain refuses to wash it away. He follows the line toward the back of the car. His boots squelch in the puddles. Each step echoes against the ruins. At first, nothing. Then the Black Widow creaks. Something's moving underneath. He crouches, flashlight shaking in his hand. The beam cuts through oil and rain. There, a smear of grey-green flesh, trembling. A shape too big for any dog, too human for anything else. A hand, small and twisted, grips the rim of the rear axle. Skin wrinkled like drowned leather. Nails long, metallic. The fingers twitch, once, twice, then clamp tight. The whole car shudders. Jesus Christ, Ethan breathes. The flashlight flickers. Static crackles through his radio. A whisper bleeds from the speaker, dozens of voices layered into one. You hit my child. The light dies. Ethan freezes. The air feels charged, heavy, magnetic. Then, from the drain beside him, another voice, a gurgling cry, high-pitched and broken, like a baby choking underwater. He stumbles back, trips on the curb, catches himself on the wet bumper. The Charger rocks again, harder this time. He hears the scrape of metal, raach. Like claws tearing through the car's underbelly. The exhaust screams. Steam jets out the side. Ethan's pulse hits like gunfire in his ears. He kicks backward, slips in the rain. His breath fogs in front of him. Somewhere inside the plant, deep in its hollow belly, an old PA speaker clicks alive, ancient, static-ridden. Delivery, received. Every light in the factory flickers once, twice, and dies. Ethan looks down the road. Nothing but fog and fractured light. He looks back at the car. A shape rises beneath it. Too many limbs. Too much motion. The voice returns, deeper now, vibrating through the concrete. You hit my child. And then, the sound he'll never forget. A scream that doesn't belong to any living thing, the shriek of metal in pain, mixed with the cry of a newborn drowning in oil. Ethan steps back, trembling. His cigarette hisses out in the puddle. He opens his mouth to say something, anything. And the Black Widow lurches upward. The last thing he sees before he dives for cover is a hand, pale and veined with blue light, gripping the wheel from inside the floorboard. Part 2, the thing you shouldn't hit. The first thing Ethan feels is vibration, like a living heartbeat pulsing through the chassis of the car. Rain hammers the hood. Steam boils up from the grill. The Black Widow idles in place, groaning like something wounded. He stares under the frame again. The flashlight sputters, weak but alive, slicing a trembling cone of light across the wet concrete. Something down there moves. A shape, thin, boneless, slides out from beneath the front axle. It isn't crawling, it's pouring, like liquid meat. Ethan's lungs seize. Jesus, no way, he whispers. The thing drags itself forward on what used to be a human arm, slick with oil and blood. Fingers, 6 of them, grip the pavement, each tipped with nail-thin shards of metal. The rest of it is hidden, writhing under the car. He backs up. The flashlight trembles in his fist. From somewhere below, a voice leaks through the floorboards. Why? A whisper, almost tender, but wrong in every syllable. It vibrates the metal skin of the charger. Ethan's brain refuses to attach words to that sound. It feels like it's speaking through him, using the fillings in his teeth as wires. He swallows hard and snaps open the folding knife from his belt. The blade looks small, pathetic against the scale of the dark. He circles to the passenger side. His boots splash through thin rivers of rainwater mixed with gasoline. The voice follows him. You hit my child. Then the Black Widow jerks sideways, hard. Metal screams as if something underneath is pulling the entire car toward the storm drain. Tires scrape, rotate, squeal against the concrete. Ethan drops the flashlight. It rolls, beam spinning wild circles before landing in a puddle. He lunges to grab the door handle. Locked? He never locks it. The engine revs on its own. Headlights flicker, one dead eye blinking alive for the first time in months. The dash lights flare, speedometer, fuel, check engine, all red. The radio bursts with static, then a chorus of tiny voices, lead and wet. You took one of 47. Give one back. Ethan slams his shoulder into the door. It bursts open, he tumbles into the rain. Steam blinds him. The smell, iron, rot, antifreeze. He scrambles to his feet. Under the front bumper, something rises. 2 arms, human length but jointed wrong, pressed to the ground. Between them, a face surfaces from the shadows. Not a monster's face. A woman's, older, gaunt, features collapsing into themselves. Her skin has the texture of damp paper, veins glow faintly blue beneath. The eyes are completely white, like chalk. Her mouth moves, but the sound that comes out comes from everywhere at once, the drains, the ducts, the factory beyond. You hit my child. Ethan's stomach flips. I didn't, I swear I didn't mean. You played. The air temperature drops. Breath clouds around him. The woman crawls forward. Below her shoulders, her body unravels into cables, rebar, something metallic twisting into flesh. The ends spark as they drag along the wet ground. Ethan bolts. He runs toward the open loading bay of the Packard plant, boots slapping water, lungs burning. Behind him, metal screams again, the sound of the charger being ripped backward. He doesn't look. He can hear it, the rending of steel, glass exploding, the muffled roar of the Black Widow dying. He bursts through the entrance. Darkness swallows him whole. Inside, it's another world. The air smells like acid and mold, every breath scraping his throat. Long conveyor belts stretch into blackness, covered in dust and feathers. The ceiling leaks from 100 open veins. Ethan's flashlight dangles from his wrist, flickering with each breath. He moves between dead machines, heart pounding. His reflection flashes across cracked glass panels, white eyes, wet hair, the knife still clenched in his hand. Something drips nearby. Not water. Thicker. Slower. He steps into a narrow corridor lined with lockers. Most hang open, nameplates corroded to unreadable rust. On one door, fresh fingernail scratches spell MOM. He turns. The sound follows him, wet dragging. Stay back, he mutters, voice cracking. I'll cut you, I swear. Silence. Then a clang above him. He jerks the light upward. Through a hole in the catwalk grill, two pale hands hang down, dripping rainwater and something darker. They twitch like dying spiders. Ethan stumbles backward. One hand snaps open. Fingers elongate, stretching 3-4 feet, impossible, and clamp onto the beam beside him. Another clang. A head pushes through the gap, same face, the old woman, smiling now, lips cracked wide enough to tear. Delivery, received. The voice rattles the steel walls. Ethan runs. The hallway narrows, then opens into a chamber lit by emergency strobes, red pulses painting everything in bursts of nightmare. Old production lines. Rusted car frames suspended from hooks. Shadows strobe with each flash. He dives behind a dismantled chassis. His breath echoes in the hollow metal. He forces himself to count 1, 2, 3, trying to slow the pulse hammering his chest. Then, between flashes, movement. She's here. Crawling along the floor, half body dragging, half metal tendrils lifting her weight. Every pulse of red light freezes her closer, like a stop-motion nightmare. 10 feet. 5. Ethan clutches the knife. You owe me a body. He can smell her now, copper and milk gone sour. She raises one arm. At the end of it, instead of a hand, the limb splits into dozens of fine filaments, each tipped with a nail. They shimmer like wet wire. They reach for him. He swings. The blade connects, cuts deep into one strand. The air erupts with a scream of metal and pain. Sparks explode across the floor. She recoils, hissing, retreating into the dark like smoke. Ethan doesn't wait. He bolts again, through another door, down a stairwell that stinks of mold and coolant. The concrete walls weep moisture. His flashlight catches a mural painted decades ago, smiling workers assembling cars, eyes hollowed out by time. Someone scrawled new words beneath in black grease. The Skinner makes mothers of men. He doesn't know what it means. He doesn't care. The stairs end at a maintenance tunnel. Pipes overhead drip onto his shoulders. The floor glistens with shallow water reflecting rusted valves. Behind him, faint at first, comes the scrape. He runs. His flashlight beam dances across the walls, industrial signage, peeling paint, a faded arrow reading test chamber. Something ahead glints, metal door half open. He squeezes through, slamming it shut behind him. Turns the wheel lock. He's inside a small control room, lined with shattered monitors. A cracked window looks out onto the next hall, an old assembly bay drowned in shadows. He leans against the door, gasping. The flashlight trembles in his grip. Through the window, he sees his reflection, gaunt, eyes wide. Then a flicker behind him in the glass. No movement in the room. He turns slowly. At the far wall, the radio on the control desk, one of those 1950s factory comms units, hums to life. Its indicator light burns green. Static, then the same layered voice. Give me a child. He backs away. I don't have. You made them run for points. Make this one count. The door handle behind him rattles once, twice, then bends inward with a screech. Metal buckles. He dives aside as the door explodes off its hinges. The woman, the Skinner's shape, crawls through the gap, dragging the twisted metal like a cloak. She's larger now. Or maybe the room is smaller. Her limbs clatter on the concrete, steel scraping stone. Ethan's knife shakes in his hand. "You can't kill a mother," she says, or all the speakers say, all at once. He throws the knife. It buries itself in her throat. No blood, only steam and black oil. She looks down, then back at him. "You just make her angry." She lunges. He dives through the glass window, showered in shards. Rolls across the assembly floor. Pain blooms down his side, glass bites into his palms. But he's moving. Always moving. Behind him, the creature drops from the control room, landing in a heap of limbs and wires. Sparks follow like fireflies. He runs between car frames, over conveyors, slipping in grease. The siren lights above him flicker back to life, painting everything red again. Each strobe catches her closer, arms longer, face splitting wider. The exit sign glows faintly ahead. He charges toward it, breath ragged. The floor gives way. He crashes through a rusted panel into black water below. Cold knocks the breath out of him. He surfaces, choking. The flashlight's gone. Only darkness and the slow pulse of factory lights through the grates above. A whisper curls around him, carried through the water. "You're in the nursery now." Something brushes his leg. Small. Many small things. Fingers. He kicks away, thrashing toward a faint stairwell at the far end. Each movement sends ripples echoing down the tunnel. The whispers multiply, child voices, giggling under the surface. He climbs out, dripping, shaking. Behind him, dozens of pale shapes rise just beneath the waterline, tiny faces, eyeless, smiling. Ethan stumbles backward up the steps. The last thing he hears before he slams the door is a chorus of tiny voices whispering through the drain. "Daddy." Part 3: The Steel Labyrinth. The stairwell shudders as he slams the door. Metal echoes up and down the shaft like a closing tomb. Water drips from his hair, his shirt, his hands, thick, black, chemical. He can't tell if it's blood or oil anymore. He climbs. Each step moans under his weight. The flashlight's dead. He uses the blue glow of his phone. Battery 2%. Signal none. The screen paints the walls a ghostly frost. At the landing, a hallway opens, a ribcage of rusted beams and broken glass. The sound of machines somewhere deep inside the plant still turning, impossibly, after 50 years of silence. He listens. Nothing human moves. Then a far-off clang, metal striking metal in rhythm, like slow applause. "Carlos." His voice cracks. "Stupid. No one's coming." He edges forward. Every surface sweats condensation. Chains sway from the ceiling like vines. They chime against each other in tiny metallic laughter. The corridor splits. Left, darkness. Right, faint red light pulsing from a stairwell shaft. He follows the red. The stairwell leads upward into heat. The smell changes, not rot now, but burnt electricity. Halfway up, he hears breathing that isn't his own. Low. Measured. Huge. He freezes. Holds breath. The breathing stops. Something drips above him, onto his cheek. Warm. He wipes it. Smears black grease across his face. Looks up. A shape clings to the underside of the stairs, folded wrong, limbs spidered along the beams. Two white eyes gleam between iron steps. He bolts upward. The stairs quake. The thing follows, fast, claws biting into the steel with every leap. He bursts through the door at the top into a massive hangar, lit by the strobe of failing floodlights. Rows of old car bodies hang from rusted hooks, skeletal and swaying. The air's alive with the hum of dead power reawakened. Ethan runs through the maze of suspended shells, bumping, scraping, leaving bloody handprints on everything he touches. The lights flicker, catching glimpses of movement above, crawling across the rafters, dozens of them. He slows. Listens. Nothing. Then the hooks begin to move. One by one, they glide along their rails, creaking into motion. Car frames drift past like coffins. A voice crawls out of the speakers bolted to the walls, distorted by age. Assembly line reactivation. Ethan's heartbeat matches the rhythm of the chains. From the shadows between frames, a pale shape drops to the floor. Then another. Then 5. They are small, child-sized, but not children. Their bodies shimmer with oil, faces smooth as porcelain except for mouths that open too wide. No eyes. No sound but the slick shuffle of feet. Ethan backs away. Stay the hell back. They move together, heads tilting at the same angle, as if listening to one thought. He grabs a loose chain, swings it. It smashes into one figure's head, the skull collapses like wet clay. Black fluid sprays the floor. The others pause, sniff the air, then rush him. He runs. They follow, limbs slapping the concrete, laughter bubbling like boiling water. He dives through a side door, slamming it shut. Something hits from the other side, once, twice, then stops. He leans against the wall, chest heaving. The room smells of metal dust. When his eyes adjust, he sees the machinery. Rows of mechanical arms, hydraulic presses, clamps, drills, all frozen mid-motion, skeletal in the emergency light. Above them, a sign still clings to the wall. Final inspection, bay authorized personnel only. He stumbles between the machines. Every surface hums faintly, as if remembering its purpose. Behind him, faint scraping again, tiny feet, whispering. He turns a corner, and stops. In the center of the room, beneath a hanging floodlight, stands the Skinner. Not crawling now. Standing. 3 meters tall, flesh fused with molten steel, the remnants of her face stretched across a skull of chrome. Dozens of other faces ripple beneath her skin, childish, elderly, animal, phasing in and out like reflections in oil. Her chest rises and falls with the rhythm of a furnace. Ethan can't move. Her voice doesn't come from her mouth. It comes from the walls, the floor, the machines themselves. The line must keep working. The hydraulic arms twitch awake, pistons exhaling steam. He runs, but the floor convulses as the first press slams down where he stood. Metal explodes into sparks. Another arm swings, he ducks under, rolls through debris. The room transforms into a storm of motion, machines shrieking, gears chewing empty air. He dives between 2 presses, crawls toward an exit hatch glowing faint green. Behind him, the Skinner moves with impossible grace for her size, stepping through machinery like water through reeds. The heat builds. The air stinks of ozone and blood. Ethan reaches the hatch, jammed. He throws his shoulder into it, once, twice, metal bends, doesn't break. A steel claw closes around his ankle. He screams, kicking, boots scraping sparks off the floor. The claw pulls him backward toward the shadow. He twists, grabs a loose pipe from the ground, and smashes it down on the claw. Again. Again. Metal dents, the grip loosens. He tears free and dives through the opening. He falls. The world flips into black. He lands hard on a grate. Pain explodes through his ribs. When he blinks the stars away, he's in another chamber, lower, hotter. Rumbling below, like the heartbeat of the planet. He looks down through the grate. Beneath him churns a pit of machinery, grinders, belts, molten slag glowing dull orange. The machine press the factory once used to crush scrap cars. The roar drowns his heartbeat. He starts crawling across the grate, slow, careful. It sags under his weight. A whisper drifts up from the pit, many whispers, a choir. Join the line. The grate behind him bends with a heavy impact. He doesn't look. He knows. The Skinner hauls herself into the chamber, limbs gripping the walls like cranes. Ethan scrambles faster, breath tearing through his throat. The metal beneath him screams and splits. He leaps for the opposite platform, barely catching the edge. Fingers slip on grease. The Skinner's hand closes around his boot. He kicks, shouting. The boot tears loose. He drags himself up, barefoot, bleeding. He runs along the catwalk toward another door, the heat blistering his skin. The walls tremble, sparks rain from above. The voice follows, louder than the machinery. You liked the game. You counted points. Now you are a point. He crashes through the next door into open night, on the roof. Rain again, cold this time, hissing on the metal. The city glows faintly in the distance, orange smog and silence. He stumbles to the edge, looks down, 30 meters to the flooded courtyard below. Behind him, the roof access door bulges outward. He whispers to no one, "Don't you dare." The door bursts open. The Skinner climbs out, rising full height, framed by lightning. Steam coils from her shoulders like wings. Ethan backs to the edge, arms spread, rain running through the cuts on his hands. You want me? Her head tilts. The smaller faces under her skin open their mouths. Run! He jumps. Wind tears the scream from his throat. The world blurs into rain and rust. He hits the flooded courtyard. Water explodes upward, knocking air from his lungs. He surfaces, gasping. The rain stings like acid. The factory looms above him, every window glowing red for a heartbeat, then black again. He tries to stand. His leg bends wrong. He crawls instead, dragging himself toward the perimeter fence. Behind him, something falls from the roof, massive splash, wave of heat. He turns. Steam. Ripples. Silence. Then a shape rises from the water, towering, radiant with inner fire. The Skinner wades toward him, slow, unstoppable. He crawls faster, scraping hands raw on broken glass. The fence is meters away. He reaches it, claws upward, barbed wire bites his palms. Lightning flashes. The shadow looms behind him. He pulls himself halfway up. A hand, cold as the grave, closes around his neck. He thrashes, kicks, manages one word. Please. The voice that answers is not cruel. It's almost loving. Shh. She lifts him, face to face. Her breath smells of metal and rain. The line never ends. The world folds in red. Morning. Rain still falls, gentle now. The Packard plant stands silent, steam drifting from its broken windows. In the flooded courtyard, the Black Widow floats upside down, headlights glowing faintly beneath the surface. A single boot bobs beside it. From deep within the plant, somewhere below ground, comes the sound of machinery starting up again. Slow. Steady. Counting. 1, 2, 3. Then nothing but the hiss of rain on rust.